Good evening and welcome to 24 News. My name is Wangui Nganga and let's take a look at the top stories that we are covering for you tonight. The country prepares itself for tough times to come. Robbery in the CBD. Youths in Kisii County are recycling plastic waste into new products. Is technology aiding or failing today's artists? Also tonight, we take a look at the growing of tree tomatoes in central Kenya. Cleaning services companies on the rise in Kenya.
Thank you, Wangui Nganga, and welcome back to Channel 24 News Bulletin. My name is Ronnie Omondi. Following the outbreak of this pandemic, COVID-19, in December 2019 in Wuhan, China, many more cases have been reported all over the world ever since. The incurable disease has been claiming the lives of many people around the world, with its symptoms being very similar to that of a common cold. In Kenya, the numbers keep on increasing daily, and health workers are on the front line to help keep it at bay. Our correspondent Cynthia Nabwire tells us more.
As the country continues to battle the deadly enemy, many people are taking precautions while the experts also work day and night in hope of finding a vaccine or a cure to the rising epidemic. And as the numbers are rapidly increasing here in Kenya, the health sector is getting ready for tough times to come, as transmissions are now communal-based. Plans are also on the way to ensure that the healthcare workers who are at the forefront putting their lives at risk to help fight the virus are taken care of to prevent contact from infected patients. A collaboration between the Health Ministry, AMREF and Rockefeller Foundation have established a center with a 100-bed capacity set up in order to offer both basic and critical care services for healthcare workers with all costs met by the government.
The first step we've made is that every patient who comes in first has to go through the hand washing or hand sanitizing. Then you're screened. You ask question depending with the history of your travel. Then another thing is to educate the health workers on how contagious the COVID-19 thing is. Yeah, so I believe they're well prepared in case of a case. We have personal protective equipment, to be precise, and we have also a toll-free line to call in case you suspect a case. Testing kits have not yet been availed.
With malaria and typhoid being factors that could raise one's temperature, and also the fact that the first basic trigger for COVID-19 is increase in temperature, many have questioned why testing for temperature should place one as a COVID-19 patient if his or her temperature is way above the norm.
When one presents having the same symptoms, headache, fever and body pains, you are advised first to be screened, that is the temperature, and the temperature above 37.5 warrants a series of blood tests so as to rule out other infections. But we advise patients, mostly those who have symptoms like flu, to go to the nearest county referral hospitals just to have a series of tests to rule out other conditions.
Na kuzingatia tu masharti ambayo serikali imeweka, kujitenga na watu na kumaintain usafi na kuvaa barakoa.
There are isolation centers and quarantine centers put in place, and there is also a spraying going on at the border points. So I believe Busia County is well prepared. So yeah, the lockdown is a way of preventing cases from rising, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee 100%.
Yeah, serikali inajaribu, but not that much. It is trying to some extent, but not fully. We are not satisfied with all the things they are doing.
As this deadly disease does not have a cure nor a vaccine, people ought to take care of themselves in order to prevent further spread. The virus spreads mainly from person to person, especially between people who are within 6 feet in close contact, and also through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. We should ensure that we take precaution like washing our hands with soap and water regularly, and in absence of water, one should use a hand sanitizer. One should also avoid touching their eyes, nose and mouth with unclean hands, and beware of infected persons so as not to get infected. The infected people should also stay at home and seek medical checkup so as to avoid spreading the disease.
After you've identified a patient has a fever of 37.5, you do a series of tests to rule out other factors. Now, if malaria is there, after you've administered your dose, the full dose, it's still persistent. Now, this warrants other tests. That's where now the COVID-19 test comes in. Yeah.
With Kenyans desperate to go back to normalcy, lockdown measures being implemented in other counties like Nairobi and Mombasa, curfew measures have been followed to the latter. But as many would ask, is it a guarantee to stop spread of COVID-19?
You're preventing the droplets from entering your body through main ways, either the nose or the mouth. So when you have a standard mask, that is standard surgical mask, or there are some clothes that are not surgical masks, but those are WHO proven. Yeah, so once it prevents the body openings like mouth and nose, it helps.
Well, during this pandemic, there are countries in Africa that haven't reported any cases of COVID-19. How do you think they've managed to stay unaffected?
According to the World Health Organization, many Africans that have confirmed cases of COVID-19 as a result of imports from the European countries like Italy, Spain, Britain and France. And as other countries are battling this coronavirus, 2 countries in Africa have managed to not report any cases of coronavirus effect, like Comoros and Lesotho. Like for instance, Comoros claims that with the widespread use of anti-malarial drugs, the country's collective resilience has been boosted, and authorities have also introduced precautionary measures, including suspensions of all international flights till further notice. Furthermore, it is the least visited country in the world. Lesotho, on the other hand, with a population of 2 million people, has experienced parliamentary turmoil, where the Prime Minister Tom Tambane is facing allegations of murder, which may be a reason behind lack of the cases of COVID-19. Otherwise, measures like closing of their borders have been put in place till further notice.
And also, there are countries that have started to go back to normalcy, as others are still battling the spread of COVID-19. Could you tell us more about the situation?
Yes, as some countries have just started battling the deadly enemy COVID-19, other countries that were the first to implement measures like lockdowns and social distance measures have started to ease restrictions and activities to go soon back to normal. For example, Germany, which plans to reopen stores but also extend social contact ban. Italy, on the other hand, is taking things slow. While lockdown continues, the government has allowed reopening of some stores. And according to Dr. Peter Drobak, a global health physician and social entrepreneur, he says that how they plan to relax restrictions looks reasonable and it looks smart. It's a very gradual process and they'll be able to learn and track things in terms of new infections. But if they ease up too much and infections start to spike, they can pull back a bit. That's how every country is going to do it. Spain also, according to Finance Minister and government spokesman Maria Jesus, says that Spain will slowly return to normal life, but in progressive stages following the recommendation of health experts in order to avoid a second wave of COVID-19 infections.
Thank you. Well, before you go, are there any hopes for a vaccine soon, or a cure for this pandemic in the near future?
Yes, that's a question that lingers in people's minds during this pandemic, as everyone is desperate for things to go back to normal. While researchers in China might have found a way that may or may not work, which involves cloning of antibodies from recovered patients in hope of coming up with a vaccine. And everyone is desperate to find a solution to end this pandemic. Rather, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, dangerously suggested or cluelessly suggested that citizens should ingest or even inject disinfectants into the body as a treatment method.
Then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning?
Question is it worth risking our lives to ingest disinfectants that would later on have an effect to our body, or rather on put trust and faith on our doctors and researchers and scientists at the forefront to help find a cure or even a vaccine for this pandemic?
Experts, on the other hand, had different opinions regarding what Donald Trump had said. Like Dr. Vin Gupta says that this notion of injecting or ingesting any type of cleaning product into the body is irresponsible and it's dangerous. And he also adds that it's a common method that people utilize when they want to kill themselves. US Surgeon General tweeted on Twitter that a reminder to all Americans: please always talk to your health provider first before administering any treatment or medication to yourself or a loved one. Your safety is paramount, and doctors and nurses have years of training to recommend what's safe and effective. Sanjay Gupta also had something to say. He said such a treatment doesn't need to be tested because it's already known that it will be harmful. The idea that we will do a trial of some sort, inject some people with disinfectant and some people not, and see what happens, I think everybody will know that that will be dangerous and counterproductive and not at all moving us in the right direction.
Now you can see, even though he gave the suggestion of disinfectants as a way of treatment, experts have disagreed with him, and they're urging citizens not to even try the idea of ingesting or injecting the disinfectants into their body. Thank you for your time, and back to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you so much, Cynthia Nabwe, for that. Remember, prevention is better than cure. And since this disease has no cure, we ought to protect ourselves and our loved ones. Stay safe.
With the help of new technological innovations we have witnessed in the past years, agriculture has become one of the most popular economic activities among many communities in Kenya. Most specifically, fruit farming in Kenya has become a fast-growing venture which has encouraged many farmers to get into agribusiness. The tree tomato business, otherwise known as Tomarillo, is very common among Kenyan farmers as its export rates are very high, hence bringing in big profits. A lot of farmers in central Kenya have indulged in the fruit farming business and are now among the highest producers of tree tomatoes to export. Wahito Maina tells us more.
Fruit and vegetable consumption is fast growing in Kenya, as well as creation of juice-making companies. Therefore, fruit farming has become very profitable to Kenyan farmers. Earnings from exports of fresh produce and horticultural products have shown an upward trend for a couple of years, with fruits and vegetables being at the top. The tree tomato, typically referred to as the tomarillo, is a member of the tomato family that additionally includes staples like regular eggplants, capsicums, and potatoes. It may be a quick-growing, however short-lived tiny tree lasting solely 5 to 7 years. However, fruits are often expected in 18 months from planting. The plants grow best in light, deep, fertile soils, although they are not very demanding. Today, we visit Jikaze fruit farming in Kenya, where Ivy Wangombe has been growing her tree tomatoes.
I'm Ivy Wangombe. I come from Jikaze Trees and Nursery. Here we do sell trees, fruits, seedlings.
Or tree tomato?
And in planting the tree tomatoes, we do start with the seeds. First we do plant the seeds. Then later on, we do cut off the scion of it and find out the root stock of the bitter leaf, and that's when we start grafting.
With a wide variety of uses, the tree tomato has created a market for itself. It can be used as a dessert, in jams, sauces, and it's contemporary during salad. Tree tomato can also be consumed as yogurt or juice, and with the rise of juice-making companies in the country, the tree tomato business is a venture that is worthwhile.
This we do sell at Muiga. We do have a really big farm. We have planted over 2,500 trees. We do manufacture juices from there, and one day we do find out 500,000. In a day, like in Muiga, where we have a really big farm, we do manufacture juices, yogurt, jam. We do make a profit of 500,000 per day.
There is high demand for the fruit, especially in the urban markets, in hotels, supermarkets, local markets, and with food vendors. Consumers are increasingly becoming aware of the nutritional and medicinal properties of the fruit. Hence, the current supply cannot meet the demand due to limited production at commercial level within the country.
Joining us live is Wahito Maina from Nyeri County. Wahito Maina, thank you very much for joining us. So the tree tomato business has become very popular among farmers. How long does it take for a tree to mature and bear fruits?
Newly planted trees may take up to 2 years for fruit production to occur, but for the grafted ones, they only take 9 months. And for this reason, many farmers opt for the grafted tree tomato because the tree grows very quickly and is able to carry fruits in a lesser span of time.
2 years is surely a long time to wait for trees to start bearing fruits. Does this not come as a disclaimer to the many farmers who are hoping for faster results?
Well, farming business is a venture that requires a lot of patience, but the patience does pay afterwards because once a single tree matures, it can bear up to 30 kilograms of fruit per year. In good soil, a single tree can bear more fruit than a single family can consume in about 3 months. So it surely is worth the wait.
Interesting point right there. So what are some of the most common challenges that farmers face in the tree tomato business?
Farmers do face a couple of challenges when it comes to growing the tree tomato. First, there's the challenge of pests and diseases, which may infest the plant, and therefore farmers have to cater for the cost of buying pesticides. Tree tomatoes also need the farmer's attention all through the year because they need constant pruning and weeding. They are very fragile and they require to be handled with a lot of care.
Thank you very much, Wahito Maina, for that report. organizations are outsourcing subsidiary services to enable them to concentrate on their core businesses. One of the services being outsourced is the cleaning services. This has led to the growth of this emerging market, which is expanding at a very high rate. One of the companies offering this type of services is Astrami Limited.
When it comes to emerging markets, the growth of cleaning services has been on the rise locally. Large organizations are now not employing cleaners. They are outsourcing services to companies which can do all the cleaning and environmental conservation for them.
My name is Margaret Ntura. I am the Finance and Admin Manager at Astrami Limited, where we deal with cleaning and hygiene solutions. I can say cleaning companies are relatively new in Kenya. And this has come about by most of the organizations outsourcing cleaning and other related services, which includes guarding, landscaping, messenger and sea services. All these are actually functions that most organizations are outsourced so that they can concentrate on the core businesses without interference with those other subsidiary services like cleaning and the rest.
Following the growth of this specific market, the rise of job employment has also skyrocketed. People have been employed to curb up the hungry appetite for Kenyans to meet their needs. Thousands of job opportunities have arisen, improving the livelihood of Kenyans who did not have a way forward when it came to their lives, and giving them an opportunity to work and provide for their families on a daily basis.
Oh yes. That is very, very true. There's been an upward trend, and this is quite evident by the number of companies that are coming up every day, which has made the industry very, very, very competitive. This is because the initial capital to start a cleaning company is very, very easy and very simple. Someone with a broom, a bucket, and maybe even a duster, you can start a cleaning company.
Organizations are really taking advantage of this new market by outsourcing cleaning services and waste disposal services to various organizations, and this is also playing a huge role in environment improvements.
Yes. Where there's cleaning, there's waste. And waste has been a global problem, which has also resulted again in emergence of many waste management or garbage collectors coming into the market. So there's no cleaning without garbage, because you have to sweep, you have to throw away the unwanted items. So cleaning and garbage collection, and also we can say like the ladies, discrete bins, the ones that are used in the washrooms, they call them sanitary bins or discrete bins. You find they go hand in hand. That also landscaping and gardening, they all go hand in hand. And also gardening, those are interrelated services.
As the saying goes, cleanliness is next to godliness, and organizations are taking the saying literally and ensuring that their workplace is as clean as possible, offering a conducive environment for employees to work in, and getting rid of bacteria and pathogens that can affect the employees, who in turn can affect the quality of their jobs.
And now our correspondent Martin Mbogwa joins us live. Martin, what is your take on the rise of cleaning services in Kenya?
Okay, so first of all, when it comes to cleaning services, they have taken the Kenyan market by storm, we can say that. Currently, there are over 200 registered cleaning companies in the country. This just proves to you how this business has taken off in the country. Large organizations have even started outsourcing cleaning services in terms of contracts so as to cater to their needs, so as for them to, we can say, mostly focus on their core businesses. Yes.
An analysis claims that employment rates have skyrocketed. Tell us more about it.
Yes, employment rates have skyrocketed, meaning that many other people have been able to get jobs to take care of themselves and their families. Cleaning Cleaning being an on-job training, it has also given the chance to people who lack the chance for formal education, we can say that, an equal chance to work so as to provide for themselves. An example we can give is like Strami Limited Company. They have over 1,000 employees who have been given a chance to work so they can feed themselves and their families. So, giving a chance to 1,000 people who are on-job trained has really benefited, let's say, the employment rates in Kenya. Yes.
So a viewer has just tweeted, he wants to start a cleaning company, but he's not sure how to go about it.
I think it is a very profitable business if you have the right people to run the job with you. It is inexpensive to start because you only need a few essentials of cleaning. We can say the typical bucket, the mop, the rugs. So the trick to make it a reputable business for you is quality of services offered. Even though there are over 200 cleaning companies out there, there are only a few which are known and are always recommended by others. This is because of the quality and also the quantity of services offered by the particular company. For example, smaller companies may not be able to cater for some services easily. For example, waste management disposal of large organizations. And this can be a deal breaker because a particular company may need that particular service and they are not, let's say the smaller companies are not able to offer it. And also even if they're offering it at a lower quality, Yes.
I think that's a fair point. And are there any positives and negatives of such a business?
What I can say about this is that the positive are obviously profit and all the good that can come with just running a normal business, yeah? Like, making money. However, there are also very negative, can say, challenges. For example, competition. It is a highly dominated market with big companies. So one has to really be persistent to make it in this particular business venture. You can't just slack off and offer, let's say, low quality services to people. Your business can't survive in such an environment, so you have to really be on your toes.
I agree. Martin, thank you very much for joining us. I am sure our viewers will take into consideration the advice that you have given us.
And on another developing story, the life of the contemporary music artist demonstrates just how much control they have over their music. Most of it is facilitated by the constant developments in digital technology. Downloads and file sharing has undeniably altered the vinyl record culture which music was built upon. Softwares have completely turned the world of music upside down, changing the various methods by which music was produced, consumed, and distributed. Moses Mokisha tells us more.
The continuing development in music technology has reshaped how music is produced, distributed, and consumed. Software and hardware developments have addressed almost every possible need an artist could have. These developments have provided digital solutions or assistance for many aspects of the music chain from production to consumption. In this week's digital transformation, I went in search of answers to find out the impact of technology on music and its stakeholders. How has it been received by the DJs, producers, consumers, and artists in general? Is it a positive reception or not?
Lazima niongee wa ukweli. Mimi kama producer nimeona hii technology it is the best thing to ever happen to our lives, because before wacha tuongee tu ukweli, kama ni kutaja majina wacha tuzitaje. In Kenya it was Ogopa na hao wengine ma homeboys. So kama wewe wako kwa moja uko kwa hiyo wengine, and if you're not in any of them, your music is not moving. What technology has given us is the platform for us to create, and there are people who will hear it and resonate with it. Tunaweza connect na tufanye deal tufanye mbele.
So technology has opened up the game and gotten rid of the entertainment cartels. Interesting. Okay, What do some of the top DJs in Kenya think about it? I sought out Homeboy's Radio #1 party DJ, DJ Bash, for some answers.
Technology has impacted our industry in so many ways, but I want to talk about promotion. And like right now, with the whole COVID-19 thing and the fact that our workplace, mainly clubs and events, are closed, we're not able to, go perform and make some money, but we can do promotions online because DJs are now doing live streams or either on Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube.
Are things really that good? I also sought out some answers from DJ Enyi, who is a renowned international female DJ, to find out some more.
Well, as a DJ, in my opinion, I feel that technology came to make work easier for us and also impacted the industry in a positive way, because nowadays you don't have to do a mix, uieke kwa CD, ushinde umezunguka Nairobi mzima ukidistribute, which of course that is very hectic if you're being honest. Siku hizi you can do a mix, open a YouTube, Mixcloud, SoundCloud account, upload the mix there, share the link on your social media platforms, then guys can listen and even download if they want, and they don't even have to be in Kenya. They can even be abroad.
Now that technology has helped to provide various platforms for visibility of the artist and as a promotional and distributional tool, I still went in search of the other underlying impacts. What else has technology facilitated? I spoke to Jackie, an avid music consumer, and this is what she had to say.
In terms of technology, I think it has made it way easier for one to get a song from an album, like a specific song, because kitambo, we used to buy a whole album for you to get like one music, but now you can just select just one single song that you like and then you go with it.
Very well said. We are now seeing a market culture that is not quite interested in entire albums and they prefer singles over albums. But we'll get into that later. How about concerts? Have they been impacted by technology? Cynthia, a music consumer, had this to say.
Well, if I give it in the context of concerts, I feel like technology has kind of improved the quality of the concerts that we consume. For now, like for example, nowadays we have enormous, gigantic stage. There's a variety of lighting. We also have holograms that can be projected, so things become a bit more interesting and more enticing to the eye. Yes, and like for example, like the tributes we have for artists who have passed away, like Michael Jackson and Prince, these holograms, like they bring this images or these icons into life, and for people who haven't experienced them face to face, it's like a truly magical moment.
Okay, so the concert experience has increased tremendously. That I have no doubt about. So is it a good time to be venturing into music? What do today's upcoming artists feel about the impact of technology? Are they happy to be a part of this industry at this point in time? I went to Ahito, who is an upcoming artist, for some answers.
Although I'm still very new to the industry, social media has really helped me in terms of marketing my work. So whenever I do something, whenever I come up with some new content, I post it on social media and I recommend people to go and check it out. And I can say that I really get some views. I get good feedback by just posting my work on social media.
Are things really that good? I wonder. Since there are so many avenues, does it mean that today's artists are well off financially? Miss Laura had this to say.
Technology has interfered so much with the music sector is that you see with the daily lives we live nowadays, we get music from very many uncopyrighted sites. Meaning that since they aren't copyrighted, we just get the songs, and what happens to the musician who took their time, went to the studio and recorded the music, how are they able to get their daily bread? So technology, in a way, has affected the music industry for a very long time.
Exactly. I thought so too. Even though the avenues and platforms have increased tremendously, most of the contemporary artists are still struggling to reap the benefits. The good has also been countered by the bad. In the next part, we dig in deep to find out if the advantages of technology outnumber the disadvantages. Stay tuned.
And now our correspondent Moses Mwakisha joins us live. So, Mr. Mwakisha, what do you think of this new breed of digital artists? Are they better off with technology now at their disposal?
Well, I think it could be argued that the price and the ease of access to gear and softwares has led to an increase in the number of amateur or merely competent artists, whereas the pre-digital era produced a small number but of highly skilled and knowledgeable artists.
Interesting. So, would you say that the artists from the older generation are better off than the new generation?
Well, to some extent, but let me first tackle the issues that have been raised in the first part. Producer Leo spoke about the end of cartels, which for sure is a beautiful thing, because in the old days we had cartels that safeguarded the interests of a few people at the expense of the majority. By that I mean the people who owned the factories of production, the studios, the venues where music is consumed and where music is performed. They would control the number of artists that would be on the billboards at one particular time. DJ Bash has also spoken about the artists having power to promote themselves, which is a very beautiful thing. Promotion is very key in any artist's success. One should take advantage of the low costs that are involved when promoting yourself through the internet. Promotion is not a cheap affair, and today's artists should really make use of the promotional facilities that have been availed to them. Now, to my favorite impact that DJ Enyi spoke about, distribution. Distribution is basically how music gets from the studio or where it has been produced to the listener. Before, it was so expensive to press your CDs or vinyl and then take it to the record stores to be sold, and it was a slow and tedious process. As an artist, it's a great time to be alive just because of that impact. There was also this point that was brought across that the market culture right now is focused on singles, that is, single units of songs over albums. Okay, I think it's a good and a bad thing, because in the old days, I was also victim to it. I would buy an entire album just to listen to 2 tracks on repeat. And living in these times, you can buy those 2 tracks without buying the entire album. There's also this issue raised by Cynthia on concerts, and I have to agree with her. The concerts game has gone up, as in, who would have thought that dead artists could have been brought back to life and to perform. Especially, I loved when they made the hologram of my favorite rap artist, Mr. Tupac Shakur. I really enjoyed that. As in, if you're an artist living today, you already know if you make the right mark, the world will keep you alive. And for that, if I was an artist, I would make use of my time so that even when I go, I'll be brought back in the form of a hologram. And apart from the holograms, there's also this point that Wahito has said about upcoming artists getting a platform. We're seeing that so many artists are sprouting from every corner of the world. But there's also one fear that I have. We are having an increase in quantity of artists, but the quality of artists is going down the drain. I think the game has become too easy to get into, that people are not putting the serious research that music requires.
You know that today's artists didn't choose to be born in this time and age. How would you advise them on how to navigate in these times?
I agree, not all hope is lost, but one thing I would like to advise or to tell the artists, they should seek the knowledge. It has become so easy to get into music. There are so many tutorials which are available on YouTube and other platforms that people don't see the need of going into a classroom. If anything is too easy, trust me, everyone will crowd, and the people who are really created will be swallowed by the masses, who we call wagonists, who are they just jump on the bandwagon because they see this is where it's happening at. So one thing, people should seek the knowledge, and people should also know the history, where the music is coming from. You cannot know where to take something if you don't know where it's coming from. So they should seek knowledge from their older counterparts, because I must say they have a lot to tell them, and they have a lot to learn from them. And they should also focus, artists they should also focus on making albums. Albums are really a good measure of a good artist and a prolific artist. So you should not be focusing on singles just because they're the order of the day. As an artist, I don't think you should, or a producer, you should not be focusing on what the market is expecting. Sometimes you have to give them something new for them to know they missed it, and for them to think, how did they survive without it? They should also be able to think of ways. Right now, the game has become so tricky. You have to educate yourself every day. Technology is also growing. So I think as an artist living today, you should be like 20 miles ahead, because you should always know how and where the world is going to, and where, if it goes in that direction that you're thinking of, how will you monetize? Like right now, we're experiencing the COVID-19. We are seeing a growth in live streams. People are performing on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm really hoping they're monetizing it, but that's what I mean. As an artist, you have to educate yourself, be aware of the certain changes that can happen in your industry, and be ready for any change, because at any time the goalposts might shift. We just saw an era of CDs, cassettes go with the wind. I would also like to tell producers that they need to also know how to play the instruments. Softwares, although they have the inbuilt pianos and the guitars, and I know how expensive instruments are, but trust me, the software cannot beat the real thing. The feeling that comes from the real instruments can be felt in the end product. Go and listen to Rumba, music made by Franco. The music is very old, but any new person that comes into contact with those live instruments, they fall in love with them. They have the melody and the rhythm. It's not a computerized sound. So producers, even though you might make some catchy beats, there's nothing that will help you as much as knowing the real instruments. So the producers need to really make a small leap of faith in trying to understand the real instruments.
Mr. Mwakisha, thank you for your insight and for your time. I appreciate it. Well, you've heard it from the main man himself on the difference between old generation music and new generation music. Let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
Sanitation services, where solid waste management ranks top, has for a long time remained an overwhelming task to town managers, thereby impairing their efforts to achieving sustainable urbanization. The situation for solid waste management is worse in small sub-towns in Kenya, including Kisii town. Kisii County, just like any other town, lacks relevant and adequate capacity to deliver sustainable urbanization services. Therefore, poor sanitation. Because of this, a group of youths in Kisii County came together and started recycling plastic bottle waste. Edwin Sagini tells us more.
Today, you can hardly look around you and not spot some item that is made entirely from plastic or has some plastic components. Do we ever take time to think and reflect on where the plastic bottles we use on a daily basis go to once we dispose them? Do we think about pollution caused by these non-biodegradable materials? Studies show that natural degradation of plastic bottles takes around 100 to 1,000 years, which is quite a long time for decomposition process. This means that bottles do not actually biodegrade, but rather photodegrade. In trying to reduce this menace, a group of youths were inspired and took up the mantle which initiated Precious Plastic Kisii. This is a plastic recycling workspace based in Kisii County where plastics are turned to new valuable products.
What inspired us to start the projects that you were offering solid waste management services to Kisii County government on a contractual basis. So during the collection, our members could just collect the plastic waste, all the kinds of waste from the organic, metal, plastic, all types of waste. Then they're dumped at the Kisii landfill. So the Kisii landfill, maybe you can check that later. So we have lots of plastic waste, lots of metal, lots of organic, and they're all mixed up. It's kind of a mess because it's within the town, and it's dangerous to the surrounding communities.
The project tries to tackle two critical problems in this area: plastic pollution and youth unemployment. With this, the group managed to get a one-year sponsorship from the UN Habitat.
We made a proposal to the UN Habitat through the Kisii County government, and it's the UN Habitat that sponsored the whole project, from having the Precious Plastic Netherlands to come to Kenya through Dave Harkins, who is the founder of Precious Plastic. So it's the UN Habitat that facilitated them, paid for their flight to come to fabricate the machine. So the whole project was sponsored by the UN Habitat.
The group gathers and transports plastics to the recycling site, where they start by cleaning them and letting them dry. Later they sort the plastics into different types.
This is the waste collection point, and at this point we receive the plastic waste, and they can be in the form of the clean or the dirty. So first what we do, we measure like how many kgs we received. After measuring, and then we separate the clean ones from the dirty ones. The clean ones, we get them into the sorting section, and those ones that are dirty, we get them sorted for cleaning purposes.
After the sorting exercise, the plastics are chopped off in a shredder machine into small flakes for easy storage and processing into final products.
And the first machine and the mother of the whole project is the shredder machine. In this shredder machine, we chop off the big plastic objects. Like this is a plastic chair. Yes, that one here that you used to sit on. That is polypropylene type of plastic. It's very hard. So for example, I was just shredding the plastic chair, melt it. So what we do in this machine, we get just one type of plastic to shred, because as I said earlier, during the sorting, all these plastics, they have different melting temperatures, chemical properties, physical properties. So if you mix them, you're going to get a shitty product at the end of the day. So you shred according to the type, and during shredding you get to label the bucket. Like this one, this is polypropylene, so that whoever is going to use the shredded flax can be able to know the type of plastic to melt, because it has different melting temperatures.
The shredded materials are then moved into a machine section where they are melted in the extrusion, compression and injection machines, which makes lampshades, flower pots, bowls and tiles. This has greatly changed the environmental situation regarding plastic pollution in this region.
Earlier, from 2017 backwards, so people were banning plastic out of maybe ignorance, lack of knowledge, and out of convenience. So, but they didn't know the effects, the negative effects or impacts that are associated with plastic waste banning. So, as much as we're doing the plastic recycling, we're also trying to educate the community on the effects of plastic waste and to the environment, to land, to our domestic animals, to us, through burning and everything. So members of the community now are able to know the different kinds of effects of burning plastic waste to the environment, to us. So most people now are able to bring the plastic waste to the recycling point, whereby we're able to make a product. So it's still a barter trade kind of thing that we're doing.
We're now joined live on phone by Edwin Sagini from Kisii County. Sagini, if you can hear me, when was Precious Plastic started?
Yes, I can hear you. So it was started back in 2017 May with a team of around 15 youths within Kisii region. And one good thing actually about this is that each of the 9 sub-counties of Kisii region has actually been represented. The group then received a training of 2 weeks from members of Precious Plastic Netherlands, which is termed as the mother of precious plastic. And from that, they were then able to learn the whole process of plastic recycling.
Has the group been able to completely tackle the problem? Estimates show that less than 9% of the bottles produced get recycled.
Well, the problem has not been fully tackled, but they have been able to make great steps in reducing the plastics from the dump sites in Kisii town. This in turn has also helped them in creating revenue for themselves from the sales of products that they make after they recycle them into valuable new products.
So where do the others go?
Well, from what I've been able to gather is that some find their way to different water masses when they are washed away by running water when it rains. And the greatest danger posed by this is that with the time, toxins start to be released from the chemicals used to make these bottles. This later affects the animals in the marine ecosystem, like fish. The effects of these toxins later come back to us when fishing activities are carried out. There's every chance that fishes infected with such harmful substances might find their way back into our households. And you know the effects of toxins, which includes cancers and many, many diseases.
Thank you, Sagini. That is all for now.
Nairobi CBD has now become more crowded than ever, with hawkers, pedestrians, bodabodas, matatus, street families, beggars, and more. This has provided a good environment for thugs to thrive. In the past, there's been numerous cases of theft, even in broad daylight. Despite the security in the city improving over the last few years, certain precautions still need to be taken. With that in mind, here's tips on how to not get robbed or pickpocketed in Nairobi. Shalil Muthuri gives us more.
Nairobi, the once green city, has become a haven for businesses, hosts a growing population, and unfortunately that includes robbers and pickpocketers.
Kuna siku nilikuwa ninatoka home shots, naenda attachment. Nilikuwa naishi hapo karibu na State House hiyo side. So nikiwa tao sikuwa very sure about the directions za kufika huko, but ni venye tu nilikuwa tired. So msee akaanza kuniambia nitakubebea suitcase. Niko like hapana, mimi sitaki kubebewa. Akainsist akanilipisha sijika ni 50, nikamwambia sawa nibebe nitakulipa. Because I was also very tired. So venye tulikuwa tunavuka tu barabara za tao, huyo mzee alikuwa anavuka kaa gari imekuja mbio, anavuka tu hiyo time. So mimi singefuatana na yeye. So before I crossed the road nikapata suitcase yangu imeenda kila kitu, nguo, hata sikuwa na nguo za kwenda Atacho the next day. Yeah, that's how I was mugged in Nairobi.
Today I was commuting from City Cabanas coming to town, and I was using Mombasa Highway. Yes, Mombasa Highway. So, hii match ilikuwa funny sana. As we were coming, kuna watu wengine wakasimamisha gari. So tukadhani wanaitwa Donda, wale kujaza gari. So, two guys pandered the match. Match ikakuja, and then tulipokuwa katikati hapo, just around Bellevue, wakasema police wanna come. So police wanakatia panic. So I started like putting my stuff in order. I had a phone inside the pocket, and now I put my bag. So they were like, police wako fungeni seat belt. So in that commotion, wakasema, hey, wako. So as the vehicles coming, it can like somewhere, and they're pretending to check. So wakashuka. Kainitu wapo. By the way, hii barabara ni mbaya leo. So they were telling us that. So as they alighted, as we were just proceeding with the journey, nikaanza kuangalia phone yangu. I didn't get my phone. I was like, how did this thing disappear? I was like, phone yangu imeenda wapi? Phone yako usimuona ilikuwa ni wezi. Mliwaamini. So I could not even reconcile that. Makanga knew. But because I was the only one, there's nothing I could do.
And with that, here are some of the precautions you need to take around Nairobi.
Kwanza, for starters, like if you are walking in town or you are walking in you are in the streets or you are in the estates, there are some things that you need to check out or to look out for. First, you need to know your surrounding. You know, there are those estates and there are those streets when you are walking. Kuna kwa na watu wamekatwa along the streets. Kazi yao tu ni ku check out like how is that guy coming, ama huyo mtu anakuja ako aje na nini, so anakupigia hesabu hata before ufike. So you need to know your surrounding na keep an eye contact na watu. Mtu akiona umemwangalia kwa macho na nini anajua this guy is conscious that ananiona na ako aware of the surrounding. Hiyo ni ya kwanza.
Stay alert. Keep looking around to see who's behind you. If muggers see you look like you're aware of your surroundings, they're less likely to come for you and your things. Walk in a group. If you do, walk quickly. A group of 10 thugs can easily come and mug you and your 3 friends if you walk lackadaisically. Even when getting in a bus, be careful, especially if you're alone.
The second thing, you need to avoid walking with things loosely, like your valuables, phone, your handbag. Like kuna watu wale wamezoea, like they're walking on the street, but they have their earphones on while swinging their phones. You know, someone can easily snatch that phone. Utabaki ukisikiza earphones too. The third thing, probably you need to know which ghetto or which street or which place you're going to, and how are the people in that place. For instance, if you're walking in the ghetto, kuna design watu wa ghetto uvaa, watu wa ghetto kutembea. So ukiwa ni ukama ama ukiwa mgeni kwa ghetto, you can easily be singled out. Watu wanaweza kuona, you know. So you need to understand the place you're walking to, the area you are going.
The easiest places to mug people are in lanes, alleys, and back roads where there are fewer people, less lights, and no cameras. Avoid these areas and use roads that are out in the open. My name is Shalene Buturi, and this is Channel 8 News.
And now we take a short break. Coming right up is Ronnie Omondi with stories from security, healthcare, and much, much more. Stay tuned. I have been your host, Wangoi Nganga.
That is all we had for our news bulletin tonight. See you tomorrow. Stay safe.